I'm talking with Rob Natelson from the Independence Institute. And Rob, I've been wanting to call you all day. I'm intrigued about your reaction to President Obama's message last night and about his executive order to fix, as he said, the immigration problem, doing what he could do because Congress won't do anything. So I wanted to find out what your reaction was to the speech.
Well, Peter, you usually call me on constitutional questions, but my reaction to this is less constitutional than political. What he has done is he's created a very large class of people within the country who are at the mercy of the executive branch. Because even though he is deferring deportation for something like 5 million people, if you read the law, or the executive order that he's issuing, any of those people can be deported at any time on the unbridled discretion of an executive branch official if they find that there is a, quote, important federal interest for deporting them. So the effect is to create a large class of people within the United States who are essentially under the thumb of the executive branch. Now, why he would do that, I can only speculate, but it does fit with some of his other policies for encouraging large numbers of dependent people who similarly become under the thumb of the government because they're afraid the government might take their benefits away from them. So that's my principal reaction to it.
Now, constitutionally, was he within the powers of the president to do what he did constitutionally?
The job of the president is to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. That's the language used in the Constitution. So he's obligated to enforce the laws. Since he doesn't have adequate resources to completely enforce the law against all people in the country illegally, it's appropriate for him to prioritize. However, whether he's prioritized properly is less a constitutional question than it is a statutory question. And frankly, on that issue, I think honest opinion can differ as to whether he's within the statute. The Office of Legal Counsel, which is a branch of the Department of Justice that directly advises the president, points out that in the past, Congress has acquiesced to the idea of deferring deportation for large numbers or large classes of people. That seems to me to be contrary to the spirit of the Constitution, but he can at least point to congressional acquiescence. My point here is that Congress is not blameless in bringing us to this state.
Okay, so there's plenty of blame to go around then, basically.
That's right. There really is. Peter, there's a long history of Congress passing vague and overly broad laws, and then the executive branch interprets them and enforces them or doesn't enforce them in ways that outrage people. And then members of Congress get all self-righteous and say, well, we've got to do something about the executive branch or about those bureaucrats, when in fact it's very often loopholes in the law or parts of the law that were passed that are overly broad, that were passed for political reasons that helped to create the problem in the first place. So it certainly is contrary to the spirit of the Constitution for President Obama to defer deportation of large classes of people. It's appropriate for him to make, or for the executive branch to make determinations in individual cases that they're going to defer. But it's certainly contrary to the Constitution for the president to defer large classes of people. But on the other hand, as the Office of Legal Counsel opinion points out, there is also a history of Congress acquiescing in this kind of action.